Come with me as we watch a killer who goes after teenagers with a high body count. Deep in the forest, two teenagers are visiting deeper into each other's crevices, but the moment ends abruptly when the boy finishes first, leaving the girl visibly dissatisfied. She said it felt really weird. Annoyed, she gets dressed and heads outside to fix the tent. Before she can, strange rustling noises emerge from the surrounding woods. Thinking it's her disapproving Indian parents, the girl quickly returns inside the tent and tries to friend zone the boy. But the tension quickly escalates as the boy's hand is impaled through the tent. At least someone got impaled. The teenagers scream, and a masked person stabs the boy repeatedly, dying on the spot. The girl manages to flee into the darkness, running for her life. However, the killer is relentless, catching up to her and pinning her to the ground. She lets out a scream similar to when she lost the school spelling bee. In a quiet church, members of the community gather for mass. Meanwhile, a girl named Cami catches the eye of a boy standing nearby. The boy gives her a very suggestive gesture, which she playfully reciprocates by flipping him off. However, the brief interaction doesn't go unnoticed, as everyone in the church stares at her while she gets embarrassed. Later, as the service concludes and the church empties, Cami stays behind as punishment to stack chairs in the storeroom. While working, she encounters the same boy again. Their body language and glances suggest a shared history of recent physical therapy sessions. The tension between them builds, but the two get into a small argument about who gets to reach euphoria first. Cami offers to perform for him as he takes care of himself, tempting him with a good time. In less than a minute, the boy quickly releases mayonnaise, earning a confused look from Cami. However, their encounter is interrupted when a church staff member stumbles upon them, probably thinking, "These white people again?" and silently apologizing to the Lord in heaven. Cami's very disappointed father meets with the head priest to express his regret over her behavior. He thinks she became a hoe because of her mother's death. The priest, concerned about Cami's actions, advises her father to send her to the Beautiful Savior Treatment Center, a remote rehabilitation facility specifically designed for teenagers struggling with promiscuity. Despite Cami's protests and attempts to change their minds, neither her father nor the priest Finna change their mind. Soon after, Cami and her father embark on the drive to the treatment center. The atmosphere is tense, her father remaining stoic, and all you hear is Cami's kitty purring with anxiety. When they arrive, the center's isolated location only adds to the growing unease. At the facility, they are greeted by the camp's managers, Tawny and her brother Eugene. Why these two look like they fudging? Together, the siblings oversee the camp, setting the tone for what lies ahead for Cami. Before entering the camp, the siblings place their hand on Cami and say a prayer. Eugene and Tawny take Cami and her father on a tour of the camp. They explain how the program works, saying the teenagers are split into groups of boys and girls for most of the sessions. Sometimes they are brought together to help them build control and learn to resist physical temptations. Oh, like gooning? Eugene and Tawny claim this method will teach the participants to turn away from what they call sinful desires. On the topic of sinful desires, an average boy walks into the garden, earning a jaw-dropping reaction from Cami, who thinks the guy is Fawon. Eugene introduces him as Daniel, who's late for church after leaving his Bible in his room. Daniel asks if they can have a campfire tonight, to which the siblings agree. Cami looks at him like she finna hop on his D. Continuing the tour, Tawny shows Cami her room and says she'll get along great with her roommate, Wyatt. Cami takes her phone out and asks for the Wi-Fi password, but Tawny immediately confiscates it and says it isn't allowed. After her father leaves, Cami ugly cries to herself in the mirror. Meanwhile, four boys try to sneak a peek at girls through an old pipe in the wall, wanting some action for their own pipes. The conversation ends up leading to a discussion about their body counts, but it's interrupted when they dash off after seeing Eugene nearby. Cami soon becomes acquainted with the other girls at the camp. During their first Bible reading session, she ends up arguing with Tawny since Cami said she had a spit roast not too long ago. The tension escalates, and Tawny punishes Cami and the group by sending them to pray in the camp's chapel. While sitting in the dimly lit chapel, one of the girls, Allie, decides to share a chilling tale connected to the camp's past. She tells them about a 17-year-old priest who had lived at the camp years ago. According to the story, he lost his mind one day, going on a violent rampage and killing everyone who was staying there because he thought everyone was fornicating instead of praying. After the bloodbath, he vanished into the dense forest surrounding the camp and was never seen again. The group dismisses the tale as nothing more than an old campfire legend. Soon, Eugene tells them to get going since it's boy prayer time. And we know that actually requires boys getting taken advantage of in the church. That night, Cami and her roommate Wyatt get to know more about each other. After getting closer, the two sneak out of their dorm to break some rules. They first search for their cell phones, then venture into the night. Along the way, they accidentally discover that Tawny and Eugene have caught the Alabama 19 virus, bumpin' and grindin'. Shocked, they quickly leave the spot, only to stumble upon a boy and girl in the woods, getting his wood sharpened. Wyatt runs off, but Cami stays behind to watch one of the girls named Mia get dressed and leave, irritated that the boy, Rob, didn't make her reach climax. Okay, but Rob kinda foine. Rustling is heard in the distance, snapping Rob out of his thoughts about not being good at breaking backs. Rob notices someone wearing a devil mask, but Rob thinks it's his friend Chris. Soon, Rob is sliced down his abdomen, causing the dumbass Cami to scream. The murderer chases her back to the dorm and she closes the door on time. Cami tells Allie what she saw, and Allie opens the door, only finding Eugene and punching his ass into next week. Cami tells Eugene and Tawny about what she saw, but they dismiss her story. Cami tries to get Mia as a witness, but she claims to have been in her room all night. Not giving up, Cami offers to show them the area where it happened. When they arrive, there's nothing in the woods, and the siblings suggest she get a good night's rest. Back in her room, Wyatt apologizes for not warning her sooner about the suspicious things that she discovered in the camp. She offers to show her around the camp, and the two cuddle up to sleep after the horrific events. Are these two finna scissor? The next morning, Cami doesn't find Wyatt in the room, so she asks the other girls where she went. They inform her that Wyatt is doing something with Tawny, but changes the topic to last night's events. They curiously ask about Rob's eggplant, but Cami says they should ask Mia instead. She gagged her with that one. Mia apologizes for lying, but an apology isn't enough for what Cami had witnessed. Allie tells her that she made the story up about the teenage priest and that there isn't actually a devil killer hiding in the woods. Cami is firm about her story, so the girls eventually go along with it and ask why Mia wasn't killed. Mia theorizes that the killer may target those who reach euphoria, indirectly admitting that she didn't reach it herself when Rob broke her back. The girls look disappointed, then get up to show Cami something worth her while. It's a peephole into the boys' showers, and Cami looks through it. Inside the boys' bathroom, the three boys gossip about Cami and her physique. But Daniel says he prefers to look at a girl's personality and intellectuality more. That man is lying. After their girl gossip, Daniel asks if any of them has seen Rob. They assume that he got caught sneaking out and is being punished with Eugene, and Daniel leaves to go look for him. Then the gay-looking man agrees to lather up Chris. When Cami takes another peep, Eugene pops up, scaring her and the other girls off. Cami is separated from the others, but Wyatt soon finds her and leads her away. Wyatt shows her around the camp's perimeters, giving Cami full of hope when she sees the fences. Before she can impulsively climb over them, Wyatt shoves her away and throws a stick at the fence, showing it's an electric fence. Wyatt got zapped by it earlier. Afterwards, Wyatt brings Cami inside an isolated storage building, saying she discovered it when trying to find the power source for the fence. Unfortunately, Wyatt couldn't find the power source or a phone to call for help. Suddenly, the girls hear movement from outside. Cami picks up a figurine and throws it as soon as someone enters, but it's just Daniel. Cami quickly apologizes, then Chris and Toby soon follow after. Chris wants to have a fivesome, and because Toby gave for Chris, he wants to join in too. Cami tries to warn them about the killer and what happened to Rob, but they don't believe her. Cami insists they need to get help and leave, forming a plan to distract Tawny and Eugene and get their phones from the siblings' cabin. Suddenly, Tawny catches them together and decides to punish them. When Tawny asks who found the storage, no one answers. She takes Wyatt's injured hand and presses on it, inflicting pain for her to fess up. Hearing Wyatt's painful cries, Cami takes the blame for the whole group and lies that she brought them to the storage to fornicate. As punishment, she is forced to kneel on sharp stones while the others clean the chapel. Tawny threatens Cami that the others will join her if she leaves her punishment. Eugene isn't delighted with Cami's punishment, but he's a dog under Tawny's leash. While the others clean the chapel, Eugene leaves to go to the bathroom and tells them to return to their rooms after cleaning. Wyatt is upset about what happened to Cami. When the boys ask about the plan, Wyatt tells them they'll follow through with it. Wyatt and Chris leave, but Toby stays behind to hide in the confession room, where he uses an explicit magazine to reach euphoria. It's a woman's magazine, but I bet he's looking at the dudes. When he finishes, he wipes his slimy hand on the curtains and hears someone enter the chapel. He calls out for Chris, but doesn't receive a response. Hearing footsteps, he looks around for anyone but is suddenly impaled, fulfilling his lifelong wish to be penetrated. Toby sees the devil's mask on the other side of the confession room, getting impaled a second time through his mouth after screaming. His second wish came true. Meanwhile, Cami hallucinates from kneeling on stones all day. She sees her late mom with her wrist gushing out with blood, which is how she took her own life. Cami breaks down and asks Tawny for forgiveness, thinking it's her mother. While Chris looks for Eugene to execute their plan, he's quickly dragged by Allie into a locker room, but the masked killer is just nearby. Things get heated between Allie and Chris. He says he opened to getting pegged. Oh, so Chris was by the whole time? Chris then asks Allie to go downtown. Ali complains that all she's done is give in to him, but hasn't received, revealing her flower for him to farm her pollen. She climaxes and is about to leave, but Chris wonders if she's going to toss his salad, but she declines. When Allie leaves, Chris is soon killed by the masked killer using a dumbbell. The next morning, Cami wakes up with badly wounded knees, not completely out of the norm for her, then patches herself up. When she leaves her room, she spots Daniel taking his shirt off for some yoga, leaving her drooling in the hallway. She closes her eyes for a moment, then ends up imagining Wyatt in Daniel's position instead. Realizing her daydream, she snaps out of it and walks away. Entering the gym, Cami steps on something crunchy and looks down to see Chris's mushed corpse. She lets out a blood-curdling scream, prompting an immediate gathering with the others. Tawny and Eugene refuse to let them call the police, saying that Chris is with God now. The teens decide to take matters into their own hands by distracting the Alabama siblings. Stealing Eugene's keys, Cami and Daniel make their way to the siblings' cabin. Snooping around in the cabin, they find out that their phones have been burned in the furnace. Hearing Tawny and Eugene come back, the two quickly hide. The siblings talk amongst themselves, the conversation leading them to Game of Thrones each other. Cami and Daniel get traumatized by what happened, quickly returning to the lobby after the siblings leave. The siblings usher them to have dinner, only to have Bree poisoned by the food and die. The others attack Tawny and Eugene and run away when they're knocked out. Unable to unlock the gate, the group panics. Suddenly, the masked killer appears from the shadows and kills Mia. The group splits apart and runs away, with Ali going missing and Daniel getting impaled. Cami and Wyatt make their way to the storage room where they end up sharing a heartfelt talk and a euphoric moment, because apparently they got time for that with a killer on the loose. They're soon spotted by the masked killer, and Wyatt pushes Cami away to protect her. Cami is pushed into a hidden wall, revealing a secret lair with CCTV footage and the control panel to unlock the camp. There's videos of each teenager's parent who consents to their children joining this weird, sussy camp. Cami hurries out to look for Allie, but walks into a cult where she finds Eugene and Allie nailed down on a bench. To her shock, she unmasks one of the devils and sees her father, feeling betrayed. That was so left field, but he is a white man, so it's plausible. Tawny and another devil enters, but the devil slits Tawny's throat for being sinful with her brother. The devil goes after Cami, who unmasks him to reveal the priest from the church. The priest hands the blade to Cami's father, telling him to cleanse Cami's body by getting rid of the impurity. Her father can't bear to do so, stabbing himself instead. The priest tries to do the job himself, but Wyatt rescues Cami, and the two burn the priest alive. Cami, Wyatt, Ali, and Eugene rush out to the woods, saving the spelling bee girl just in time before she is stabbed by another devil. I love how the movie went full circle. An actually fun and campy Tubi movie. Left a lot to be desired, but actually decent for Tubi. What did y'all think about this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.